It's Jordan Mulligan from the Mulligan Brothers, and today's interview highlight is with Lex Griffin, talking about the importance of the gym and how it can become a safe space for your mind, something I completely agree with. Today's video was sponsored by mulliganbrothers.com, where you can now buy the Inspire Change t-shirts, the Mulligan Brothers t-shirts, and the journals. But before that, let's jump in to this video with Lex.
When I was younger, the fitness side of things, for me, it was just I loved doing sport. Like, if I wasn't doing sport, I was riding a bike somewhere to a river to go and jump in it. It was just, that was kind of who I was. And so to get into the bodybuilding, the reason that started actually was, like I said, I had the biology teacher who was a weightlifter himself. One was a snowboarder, Mr. Broadhurst, and then Dr. Pearson, he was the weightlifter. So I went snowboarding with one teacher, and then the other guy took us to the gym, and he showed us the basics of in the gym, and he was such a positive human being in my life that I wanted to emulate what he was in some way, shape or form. And so he immediately, by taking us, he literally trained with us in the gym, like a group of 8 of us. It was brilliant. So that really set me in the side of like, well, this is enjoyable. I like this. This is like sport, but something I can control. You do it at your own pace. And then from there, luckily I had, we used to live in the countryside in like a farmhouse, and my neighbour used to train at one of the local gyms. So at 15 years old, he would drive me after school with him when he went to the gym. He let me tag along. And I went to this old rustic gym. It was like a proper spit and sawdust kind of place. You know, they even had those weights like Popeye used to have, you know, the big circles on it. So this place was like a jungle gym to me when I went in. And because I was in there with such enthusiasm, the older guys who were in there, they kind of took me under their wing and showed me how to do things. And so it created that positive mechanism of, you know, going to the gym, meeting people you like, having a laugh with these grown men. It was like feeling like one of the boys, coming from a family full of girls, you know. This was really great. So that's what really set me into loving the weight side of things. At school, I played a lot of football and basketball, which is kind of non-contact. But when I went to university, because when I was at school, with basketball, I played for the town teams and I played for the school team. The whole emphasis on us was team. So if you missed a shot or someone missed a shot, you didn't chastise anybody on that team. You got back as a unit and defended. So nobody ever stuck with the negatives. It's always like, move, we get moving on. So I think that maybe carried through with me a lot from that coaching kind of style of, you know, you don't slam others. Yeah, that went wrong, but how do we fix it? That kind of mentality. So then when I went to university and I went to trial for the basketball team, that wasn't there. Everyone was like a one-man show. And I hated it. And my new roommates at the time were all rugby players. So I then started, well, I'll try for the rugby. It turns out I played a little bit of rugby at secondary school, but not for any teams. It was more inter-house. And it turns out pretty good at rugby. Because at university we were at Newcastle University, so we played for some of the teams there as well as the like inter-house teams. So I played a lot of rugby, and then so when I started playing rugby, it was like, okay, I want to be able to tackle harder. So then it was into the weights room at the university. Obviously, you've got everything at your disposal because you're a student, everything's catered. So into the gym, and it was like, okay, how do we train to get stronger? And then from there, it was like I started seeing changes in my body, and from that, it was like, oh wow, okay, we're seeing some changes here with the food and the training. How far can we take that now? And then I started. Then those little pictures that were up on the wall in that old original gym I went to of like Sean Ray, Arnie, and all that, they started coming back from the old memory banks. I was like, well, let's see where we can get towards that, you know, and that's pretty much where it came from. Exercise activity in general is massively underrated, especially in the UK. I think now even kids in school, they're not making PE kind of a mandatory thing anymore. It's almost, if we have to drop something, let's get rid of that. But exercise is cathartic. That not only on a hormonal level, but on a mental level as well. It gives you that moment of a break from everything else that's going on in the world, and you can focus on just what's in front of you at that time. And especially in the gym, you can put the music on that you want, headphones on, and all your focus can go into these singular movements or these singular time frames, and that's all that matters, and that's really freeing. You know, and that break away from the everyday hustle and all the problems, sometimes that can just give you that reset you need to go back energized and recharged back into the real world. So underestimating the value of being in, maybe even going to just a team sport, even going to a Zumba class, anything just gives you an increase in happy hormones and a break away from the real world. The benefits are huge, and I would recommend anybody, even if you're not sporty, who cares, go for a long walk, go for a harder walk with the dog. join a team, you don't have to be brilliant at everything. You just have to try, and you'll try, and eventually you'll find those one or two things that you really love. Yeah, I don't know why people. I think we scare people. I think, again, social media scares people into trying things because they see everyone being perfect at something all the time. Trust me, nobody's perfect. You guys have not seen me play tennis. But there's a lot of swearing, but by the end of the day, I'm pretty decent. Yeah, so I always have a little inner voice. And I learnt this through my years of doing like MMA, is it's not something you can be taught, and some people don't have it and some people do. When we were sparring or when we were doing really tough drills with Thai boxing or wrestling, I always had a little voice in my head, even when I was when you're on the floor and you can't get your breath in, you can't expand your rib cage enough to get your lungs full, and you feel like you might throw up. Always a little voice in my head was going, get up, get on your feet, get up, get on your feet. And that's always benefited me, and I've pushed that through into the weight training as well. So I always will count my rests. My phone is not in my hand during training. My phone goes wrapped up in a bag, and all it's doing is playing music. If it beeps or it rings, I don't care. I'm not answering it. This is my time. It's not a long time. Most of my gym sessions are 60 minutes. If I can't take 60 minutes of a single day to myself to focus on something that's going to make me better, how can I expect to get better at anything else outside of that 60 minutes? This is easy. This is fun. This is what sets you up to go and do the tough stuff that's real. So getting my head down, that music that gives you goosebumps, that music that makes you want to just get up and do something. You need that. That is huge. And a lot of people, you see them sat around looking into space, just not really paying attention, on their phone scrolling. This is the biggest thing you see. Take all that away. Take away those variables. Allow yourself to get focused, and eventually it'll become a habit. Eventually you won't want that phone in your hand because it's a distraction. It's taking you away from what you now enjoy. So for me, it's the music, head down, counting my rests, and that little inner voice, which sometimes becomes an outer voice because I've got my headphones on, which are noise cancelling. I literally dig in, and it's always a matter of how long are you gonna allow yourself to rest? And that's always my mentality is, do you need more rest or can you go? Do you need more rest or can you go? And I'll go as soon as I feel like I can go. That might be less than 30 seconds, but the max I give myself is 30 seconds. Unless we're doing crazy strength training, but that's a whole other tangent. But in just the basis of everything, it's like go, go, go. Don't let yourself get lazy. And I enjoyed that. So I've created my own kind of training system that allows me to be that way, which is much more high frequency. And again, but that's adhering to what am I good at. I have the joints. I don't know if the cameras can pick these up, but that is the joint of a 12-year-old girl. Look at that. Look at it. That is not designed to do powerlifting. It's just not. And as much as I had a go at doing that kind of strength training and power training, I did get stronger, but I broke. My joints were just getting smashed, and they're just not designed for it. So it's okay. And that's not what I'm designed to do. I can do it every so often in lower volumes. I can incorporate it in, but that's not for me. And as much as I'd love to be able to do that, it's not what I'm destined to do. So I train to how I enjoy, but also benefits me in the way that I'm built, and that's hugely important. And that's why I think, again, when you're watching people on social media, when you're looking at people, take them as inspiration, take them as motivation, but understand they're a different human being to you. So you take what you like from what they do and you implement it to your way and the way you enjoy it, and that's where you'll get that successful. And that's all I do. Good music, head down.
And there you go, some amazing advice from Lex Griffin. And I think we can all find our safe spaces. It doesn't have to be the gym or sports, but I think it's a very, very good place to start. We're talking about a healthy body, and a healthy body quite usually leads to a healthy mind. I've always found that. So some great advice. Go follow Lex for more information like this. He drops some great stuff on socials and some funny stuff as well. Today's video was sponsored by mulliganbrothers.com, where you can buy the journals, the t-shirts, all of that support made these projects possible. But also you can become a channel member with the join button. Clicking the join button does get you extra benefits, and again, helps keep these lights on just about, and helps get our film crew around the world just about. I'm only kidding. But it does actually help us do all that. It makes that possible. Thank you so much. If you want to see more behind the scenes of what I get up to on a day-to-day basis, go follow me on Instagram, @Jordan Mulligan Brother. Go do it, because Neve Neve Mulligan's sister, has got into powerlifting recently, and she is catching up with me. So go follow me. And I probably mentioned her too much, so you're probably going to follow her instead. Take this video, share it with somebody, and go inspire some change with the messages and lessons that you learn on Mulligan Brothers. Peace.